Welcome to our series on the new music, part 13. Here is the conclusion of Alan's interview with Michael Fitzpatrick, Searching for the Golden Sound. The subsequent studio work was very complex. I wanted the first sound on the CD to be something that nobody could recognize, something very hypnotic. And we finally settled on crystal toning bowls, which have a beautiful ohm-like sound. Then the Dalai Lama gives a special message. Merton gives his prophetic message at the end. And then the cave music goes through this wild weave of celestial Trappist chant, plunging into primordial Tibetan chant, singing cello lines, heavenly flute, and finally ending with this one call that is the golden sound. When I listen to it, what happens is that it gradually moves through all my chakras. And when it gets to the last note, I feel the energy flow up from my base through the spine to my crown, and I go into a union state. As soon as the CD was ready, I drove to the Abbey to present it to the abbot, and then jumped on a plane and flew to San Francisco and presented it to His Holiness on the first anniversary of the cave recording. When he looked at the cover, which had photos of himself and Merton facing each other, I saw him journey back to 1968, and a tear came to his eye. After he finished listening, he said, "Thank you for doing this. It will bring many people around the world the deep feeling of peace." In fact, the response of people to the Compassion CD has been extraordinary. It became clear that not only had we an extraordinary experience in making it, but that experience was transferable to others. Now we are working on a film of the cave concert to bring it to an even larger audience. The film will be like a waking dream, beginning with gold-lit images inside the heart of this 350 million year old cave, to give people a primal, ancestral memory experience. Alan, the idea of seeking for a new music deep in a cave, in the heart of matter, is a very powerful one. Fitzpatrick, I wanted to break patterns, to take us out of our surface world. Ultimately, it was not about going into the heart of the earth to find the new sound, but to put it back into the earth, and so shift the morphogenic field of the earth into a higher vibratory rate, to allow for openings of consciousness and increasing love and compassion. That's really what was driving everything, with the larger plan of using this project as a model, so we could then take it, perhaps with Mayan musicians rather than Trappist and Tibetan monks, to say, to, say, the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid. The idea, now that we've crystallized this vibration, and we know we can intentionally call it forth, is to go to all the sacred earth sites and temple structures and send it back into those stones and see if we can get the planet vibrating a little more harmoniously. So my fascination with the Matrimandir is in that line. The Matrimandir is radically important because it's a massive, energetic consciousness generator that has a key birthing role in this accelerating cycle that we're in now. So I would encourage everybody who goes there to focus on the pure music in the silence and let it sing. Alan, what is it like to play traditional concert music after your experience in the cave? Are you rediscovering it? To be able to come back to the music now is the ultimate reward. Because I'd imagine what we went through in the cave was like a near-death experience. Once you've traveled to the light and come back, you know what it is. And everything afterwards is completely changed. You realize, for example, that all those guys I played the other night, Schubert, Bach, Saint-Saëns, were tapped into the same thing. It is as if you've been listening to a Beethoven symphony in black and white your entire life. And it's already incredible. But then suddenly it's in full color and in 3D or 5D. You start hearing how Beethoven was hearing the totality of creation. So then, as a performer, it's not about playing it right. I wasted 20 years of my cello playing education trying to do this, but about one's capacity to hold the frequency, to tune to the consciousness, and to emanate the consciousness as purely as physically possible. And then there is a phenomenon of spirit that happens with the instrument itself, when it's almost as if an invisible filament on film gets created between the string and the bow. It's like riding on a beam of light. And when that happens, everything melts, goes golden, and you're far out and far in. Ultimately, that's what it's all for. Michael Fitzpatrick is a recipient of the Prince Charles Award for Outstanding Musicianship and has performed at the UN and at the opening ceremony of the Parliament of World Religions in Barcelona. More information on the Compassion Project can be found at voicesofcompassion.com. I close with this interview with a poem by Siegfried Sassoon. Everyone sang. Everyone suddenly burst out singing, and I was filled with such delight, as prisoned birds might find in freedom, winging wildly across the white orchards and dark green fields, on, and out of sight. Everyone's voice was suddenly lifted, and beauty came like the setting sun. My heart was shaken with tears, and horror drifted away. Oh, but everyone was a bird, and the song was wordless. The singing will never be done.